Alright, so I wasn't even going to post this, but after what happened today, I feel like I need to get it off my chest. If you told me this morning that I'd be standing face to face with Donald freaking Trump in the middle of my usual running route, I'd have laughed and kept scrolling. But here we are. A little context: my wife, Sarah, and I have been married for 8 years. We run together every morning, it's kind of our thing. She's faster than me, but I keep up, barely. Lately, though, something has been off. I couldn't put my finger on it. You know that gut feeling when something's wrong, but you don't have proof? Yeah. That. Anyway, we lace up and hit our usual path. The sun's barely up, the air is crisp, and everything feels normal. Until it doesn't. So we're jogging, and I'm trying to focus on my breathing while Sarah is effortlessly gliding along like she's in a Nike commercial. Typical. But then, up ahead, I see something weird: 3 big, black SUVs parked awkwardly on the side of the trail. Not like someone just pulled over to check their phone, like, deliberately placed there. I slow down. Sarah doesn't. She's still running, earbuds in, completely unaware that I've fallen back a little. My brain is already going full paranoia mode. I mean, what kind of government-looking, tinted window SUVs just randomly show up at a public park? Either this is some weird undercover sting, or I'm about to be abducted. Neither option sounds great. Then I see them. Men in suits. Just standing there, trying way too hard to act normal. But here's the thing: no one wears a full suit to a jogging trail at 6:30 in the morning. Something is definitely up. And that's when Sarah does the absolute dumbest thing possible. She waves at them. So I freeze. Because why the hell is my wife waving at the men in black standing next to their government-issued SUVs? I look at her like, what are you doing? But she's just jogging along like this is a totally normal Tuesday. And then, get this, one of the guys waves back. Not like an awkward, hesitant wave either. A full-on, hey, good to see you, kind of wave. What the hell? Now I'm standing there, mouth half open, while Sarah keeps running toward them. I do a quick mental checklist. Are we about to be arrested? Unlikely. I paid my taxes. Mostly. Did Sarah secretly join the CIA? Honestly, would explain some things. Am I still asleep, and this is a stress dream? Possible. But before I can process anything, the back door of one of the SUVs opens. And out steps a man I never, in my entire life, expected to see in person. Donald freaking Trump. Okay. So, let me just set the scene here. Sarah and I go on a normal run. Out of nowhere, we see government SUVs and men in black-looking dudes standing around. Sarah, for some reason I still do not understand, waves at them like she knows them. And now, Donald J. Trump is stepping out of a car. I swear to you, my brain just shut down. Like a full system crash. Blue screen. Static noise. Nothing processed. He's wearing his usual suit, way too formal for the setting, but instead of his usual MAGA hat, he's rocking this insanely bright red headband. Like, aggressively red. My brain latches onto this detail because it's the only thing keeping me from passing out. Sarah? Completely unfazed. Meanwhile, I'm standing there looking like an idiot, trying to figure out the correct reaction to suddenly encountering a former president on a random jogging trail. Do I say hi? Do I salute? Do I turn and run? And then, he speaks. So Trump steps out of the SUV, adjusts his aggressively red headband, and looks directly at me. Not Sarah. Me. Then, in that unmistakable voice, he goes. You guys are running? That's great. Great cardio. I love cardio. People don't think I run, but I do. I run the best. The best runs. I swear to God, I almost choked on my own spit. Sarah, meanwhile, is just standing there like this is completely normal. Trump continues, a lot of people don't know this, but running? Very, very good for you. The best runners, they're in shape. Incredible shape. Some say I'm in incredible shape. Not everyone, but some. Many. I have no idea how to respond to this. What the hell do you say to that? I glance at Sarah, expecting her to be just as lost as I am, but nope. She smiles and says, "Oh yeah, we love running. I do half marathons sometimes." And Trump? He nods. Like we're all just three old friends catching up at a cookout. What is happening? Then he points at me. You look like a strong guy. But you gotta pick up the pace, champ. Excuse me. All right. So let's take a moment here. I woke up today thinking I'd go on a simple run with my wife. I did not wake up expecting to get personally called out by Donald Trump for being slow. Sarah? Losing her mind. Not outwardly, of course, she's polite, but I can tell she's holding back a laugh. Me? Absolutely flabbergasted. My brain is screaming, did the 45th President of the United States just tell me I'm out of shape? I do what any rational person would do in this situation. I panic and blurt out the first thing that comes to mind. Yeah, I try to keep up. I try to keep up? That's the best I could come up with? Jesus. Trump just nods like he's a damn fitness coach and goes, "That's good." Effort. Effort is key. Some people, they don't put in the effort. That's why they're slow. You're not slow. But you could be faster. I know fast people. Sarah, at this point, is dying inside. She keeps looking at me like, "Are you seriously letting Trump give you running advice?" I am. I absolutely am. Then out of nowhere, Trump claps his hands together and says, "All right. Let's go. Let's race." Excuse me? So let me get this straight. I went for a casual run with my wife. We randomly stumbled upon Trump and his Secret Service entourage. He roasted my running pace. And now, I'm apparently in a race against him. This is not how I thought my morning would go. Sarah, of course, is fully on board. She's grinning like an idiot and goes, "Oh, this I have to see." Meanwhile, I'm standing there trying to process every decision that led to this moment. Do I say no? Can you even refuse a foot race challenge from a former president? What happens if I lose? Do I get deported? Trump claps his hands again. Come on, kid. Let's see what you got. Kid. The man is literally 40 years older than me and just called me kid. At this point, the Secret Service guys are looking at each other like, do we actually have to let this happen? But no one stops it. So there I am, standing at an imaginary starting line with Donald freaking Trump next to me, his bright red headband practically glowing in the morning sun. Sarah counts us down. 3, 2, 1. Go! And just like that, we're off. I don't know what I expected, but the second Sarah yells go, Trump launches forward like a damn racehorse out of the gate. And when I say launches, I mean arms pumping, legs moving, and that bright red headband bobbing with every step. The dude is sprinting. Sprinting. Like, full Grandpa Usain Bolt mode. I swear I hear one of the Secret Service guys whisper, "Oh no." Now, look, I'm not a pro runner, but I'm in decent shape. And there is no universe where I'm about to let this 78-year-old man dust me on my own running trail. So I push forward. Hard. I'm gaining on him. I can hear Sarah laughing her ass off behind us. At this point, my brain is fully short-circuiting. I mean, what is the correct emotion to have when you're locked in a dead sprint with Donald Trump at 6:45 in the morning? Fear? Pride? Existential dread? Then, just as I'm about to overtake him, it happens. A wild raccoon appears. I kid you not, a massive, demonite raccoon darts out from the trees directly into our path. And Trump? He doesn't see it. So there we are, Donald Trump and I, mid-sprint, racing like our lives depend on it, when out of nowhere, this absolute unit of a raccoon charges onto the trail. And Trump? He's locked in. Tunnel vision. Focused. He does not see it. I have approximately half a second to react before absolute chaos unfolds. The raccoon freezes. Trump, still in full sprint mode, is about to collide with it at maximum velocity. And then, it happens in slow motion. The raccoon lunges at Trump's shoe. Trump yells something incoherent that sounds like, "What is that?" Secret Service immediately panics. Trump trips. He does a full-on, cinematic, slow-motion stumble forward. And then, he faceplants. Hard. Silence. Even the raccoon looks like it regrets its life choices. Sarah? Speechless. One of the Secret Service guys mutters, "Oh, for F***'s sake." Another one is already talking into his wrist mic, probably reporting, "The Eagle has crash-landed." And me? I'm just standing there, sweaty, horrified, and out of breath, watching Donald Trump push himself up from the ground like some kind of fallen war general. Then he looks at me, brushes dirt off his bright red headband, and I swear on my life, he just nods and says, "That was a dirty move. But I respect it." What? So Trump is dusting himself off, standing there like he just survived a battlefield injury, and I'm trying my absolute hardest not to completely lose my mind. But then, he looks at me. Dead serious. And he says, "Smart. Very smart. You're a strategist. You knew you couldn't win fairly, so you sent in the raccoon." Excuse me? My brain just fully disconnects at this point. What is he even saying? Sarah, meanwhile, completely loses it. She's doubled over, laughing so hard she can barely breathe. She's not even trying to hide it anymore. Trump thinks I planned this. Trump thinks I, a random suburban husband, had the foresight and tactical genius to deploy a trained attack raccoon mid-race. I open my mouth to clarify, but what do I even say? "No, sir, I don't have a raccoon army. I swear on my life, I did not hire that raccoon. Please don't have me investigated for wildlife-related espionage." Nothing seems right. Meanwhile, the Secret Service guys are just deadpan staring like this is the eighth weirdest thing they've had to deal with this week. Finally, I just go, "It was an accident?" Trump squints at me. He's not convinced. Then, he grins. Smart. Very smart. I like it. I like a guy who plays dirty. And then he pats me on the shoulder. So here we are. Donald Trump, who just tripped and ate dirt after a raccoon ambush, is now patting me on the back like we're best buds who just finished a successful heist together. I am completely lost. I think I might be in shock. Maybe a little delirious. Maybe the whole thing is a fever dream. Sarah is still laughing, but she's definitely starting to tone it down now. She knows I'm in deep psychological turmoil and probably doesn't want to be responsible for me cracking under the pressure of this insanity. Trump stands there for a moment, taking in the fact that he just got his ass handed to him by a random raccoon. He nods at the raccoon, who has now stopped trying to eat his shoe and is casually waddling back into the woods like nothing happened. That raccoon, it's got some skills. Impressive. We should get that thing in the Olympics. I'm not sure how to respond to that either. I mean, is he serious? But then, for reasons I still don't understand, he extends a hand to me. You've got guts, I'll give you that. You beat me fair and square. You're a winner in my book. At this point, I'm just shaking his hand, still not really sure how to process this whole thing. I feel like I'm in a bizarre alternate universe where the former president of the United States is congratulating me for beating him in a race against a raccoon. And then, as if on cue, Trump waves to his Secret Service crew and says, "All right, enough of this. Let's get out of here before the raccoon's agent shows up and demands royalties." The Secret Service guys just nod, and before I can even blink, they're back in their SUVs. Trump gives one last wave, and the convoy drives off. And there I am, standing in the middle of the trail, with my wife, and a whole bunch of confused thoughts. So, the convoy drives off. The SUVs disappear down the trail, and suddenly it's just Sarah and me, standing there in the quiet morning, still trying to wrap our heads around what just happened. I look at Sarah. She's still grinning, but there's this glint of disbelief in her eyes. "Did that just happen?" she asks, breathless from laughing so hard. I stand there, trying to piece together any kind of rational explanation. Was it a dream? Did I just get pranked by reality itself? Is this some surreal, weird, twisted fever dream where I've suddenly been chosen for the strangest encounter of my life? But no. It really happened. Donald Trump just challenged me to a race. A race I won. With a raccoon. I shake my head, trying to clear it. "Yeah," I say, still dazed, "I think it happened. And I think I'm going to need therapy." Sarah bursts out laughing again. "I can't believe you actually raced him. And he thought you planned the whole raccoon thing." I raise an eyebrow. "Yeah. That's going to be a fun story for the grandkids, huh?" Sarah catches her breath. "I think that's the craziest thing I've ever witnessed, honestly." We start walking back toward the car, the whole morning still feeling like some strange, surreal dream. But the weird thing is, I don't even feel bad about it. There's no part of me that's regretting getting into a race with a former president, or getting roasted, or even having a raccoon randomly become part of the drama. At the end of the day, I'm just thinking about how absurd life is. How one moment, you can be jogging down a trail with your wife, and the next, you're face to face with a man who used to run the country, getting congratulated for beating him. As we make our way back to the car, I can't shake the feeling that my entire reality has been warped in the span of an hour. I mean, how do you even process this kind of encounter? The run that was supposed to be just a routine part of our morning turned into something out of a bad sitcom episode. And the worst part? I'm not even mad. I think the whole thing is funny now. It's just too wild to be anything other than absurdly entertaining. But I can't ignore the weirdness of it all. Trump. A race. A raccoon. It was like a fever dream, but the kind of fever dream you wake up from laughing, not sweating in fear. I glance over at Sarah. She's still smiling, but there's a little twinkle of realization in her eyes. She's thinking about it too. The weirdness. The randomness of it all. "You know what," she says, pausing for a second. "This was probably the most unexpected thing that's ever happened to us." I look at her. Yeah. No kidding. I mean, a raccoon could have been my ticket to fame today. We both laugh. But I'm starting to feel something else too. A bit of clarity. This whole thing made me realize something. When everything feels out of control, when life throws complete curveballs, you don't have to fight it or get upset about it. Sometimes, you just have to laugh it off and keep moving. Because I could have let the weirdness of the day ruin me. I could have let the embarrassment of losing my composure in front of Trump linger, or the weird feeling of being roasted by a former president mess with my head. But I didn't. Instead, I laughed. Sarah laughed. The raccoon got away unscathed. And life went on. So here's the thing, life is crazy. But maybe that's the point. Maybe we're not supposed to have it all figured out. Maybe the moments that don't make sense are the ones that matter the most. I learned something today. In the grand scheme of things, life is weird and unpredictable. But that's what makes it all worth it. To wrap this up, I don't know what kind of advice I'm supposed to give here. I didn't win a Nobel Prize. I didn't solve world hunger. But I did experience something completely out of left field that I'll remember for the rest of my life. So, if you ever find yourself in the middle of a completely random, surreal, completely unpredictable situation like racing a former president and having a raccoon get involved, just go with it. You never know where life might take you. And honestly, sometimes it's okay to just let it be ridiculous. And that's all I've got. Thanks for reading this insane roller coaster. If you've had anything even remotely as weird happen to you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Stay weird, folks.